Good morning. We're here with Carl Lambert. Carl is with Lambert Funeral Home. Good morning, Carl. How are you?
Good morning, Wendy. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I'm glad you're able to be on with us. Just wanted to give you an opportunity to speak to our listeners. One of the first things I try to have folks do, I want to give you I feel like so many people in the community already know who you are, but hopefully there's some folks watching who don't know. So just wanted to give you a chance to introduce yourself, tell a little bit about you personally as far as your family, just so folks feel like they know you a little better.
Sure. Kim and Carl Lambert, we have been here in the community for a little over 3 decades.
Wow.
and in the funeral service side of things. And we do feel like we know a lot of folks out there, and are glad to be, as you know, part of the community and involved in things here. We have 3 adult children.
Mm-hmm.
One lives locally, Allison, who many people know, Allison Guffin, Haley Lambert, who lives in Florida, and Jacob Lambert, who lives in Virginia. So we're sort of spread around a little bit at this time. And of course, that helps with social distancing, I suppose.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. We had Allison on, I believe, last week because she's with First Methodist Child Care. So if anyone wants to meet Carl's daughter, just go back in our video files. She was on. So, okay. Well, Carl, take just a few minutes to tell us a little bit about the business, because I know it's new, but it's not new. So tell us a little bit about, let's see, your son just popped up with a message saying one lives in Yorktown, Virginia.
Oh, yes, that was, yes. I said Virginia.
So, well, tell us a little bit about the business as far as what it's all about.
Sure. We are, of course, funeral service providers here in the area. We, and I'll speak to this a little bit further in a moment, but full service funeral home and cremation services here serving the county as well as surrounding county areas. So services are traditional, what many people are accustomed to. Burial services. Services are also available for cremation-specific services, as well as memorial services and things of that nature. Graveside services, traditional service, complete full-service funeral home, and that's what we do. We're providers of those services and have been the whole time that we've been in the community here.
Okay. Now we know that over the last several months, there's been a transition for you. You now are with or the owners of Lambert Graham. So tell us a little bit about that whole transition. I'm going back and forth to my notes. That's why I keep looking to the left. What kind of inspired you and Kim to do that? What clients should know about this transition. So just tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. We were longtime employees, over 30 years with Eaton Funeral Home in town. And we were approached by the Graham family several months ago now as they were transitioning and beginning to retire. So we had this wonderful opportunity, we thought, after much prayer and consideration, mm-hmm. to go ahead and assume an offer, or rather they assumed an offer from us to purchase their facilities and properties and go into business for ourselves. We thought we were deeply, and still feel that we're deeply connected to the community, and this would offer us an opportunity to have our own funeral home, be independent and Davie County owned and operated, and like that idea mm-hmm. of being allow families or to offer a lot of guidance to families, as well as make a lot of our own, decisions, and kind of set a funeral home up to the way that we felt would be comfortable for Davie County citizens. So this was a wonderful opportunity. We're very grateful to the Graham family for doing that as they have retired and they, begin to transition out. It was a good location, offered us a place to sort of renew our career, I suppose. Mm-hmm. Middle years, we were able to come in and do a total renovation of the facility or refurbishing of the facility. I think one of the things we're most proud of is that we were able to bring our technology and our services available to families up to a high standard with our friends at Yadtel, who by the way, very awesome. It's an awesome company, and we're very happy to have them, here in our community. But, we added things such as, which we didn't know at the time when COVID was coming along. But one of the things that we added was webcasting, true webcasting. So in our facility, we can webcast funerals to our, both out into the World Wide Web and onto our website, personal, wherever space that it needs to go, as well as on site at services, or rather that are off site at churches and gravesides and places like that. So you have this great video capability in the building. You can set in individual rooms, and if somebody needs privacy, they can watch the service in another room. So I think we're very proud of that, and the ability to come into the funeral home and have it feel very home-like, very comfortable. At least that's the comments that we're receiving, so far. So the transition was good. It was a major decision in our life. But the community has been very, very receiving in what we've done here. And of course, at the appropriate time, we would invite folks to come out and visit and take a walk through of our facilities and see what we have to offer. So we're very happy about that.
Okay. Yeah. Who would have known that you all would have to implement certain things because of what's going on now? I mean, you just wouldn't think. We personally experienced a death in the family shortly after this occurred, and I mean, you just don't realize, as far as how this has affected being able to memorialize or celebrate someone's life in terms of from that perspective. So well, as we kind of talking about that, tell us a little bit about how you all are having to do business differently right now.
Well, COVID has changed the world, and it's certainly turned it upside down to what I suppose many people are calling the new normal. And it has affected as we know, every facet of life, things that I didn't even imagine that it would affect.
Yeah.
And directly in response to the funeral service side for all of our colleagues, wherever they are, it's changed entirely the way that we are currently having to serve families. To most of us, that's a real heartbreaker, because it presents itself totally different, limiting the amount of folks that can come into the facility at any one time, or any funeral home facility, limiting the amount of folks that can make arrangements, often trying to do things much like we're doing right now through a Zoom meeting or some outside way that it certainly doesn't feel the way that we are accustomed to, where we like a handshake or a hug or comfort, because that's what we do in the services that we provide. So now we're currently limited, generally speaking, to private, we as a profession, to private services, to private graveside services, to 50 or less, including funeral home staff, or from the state mandates from the governor. So it has been frankly, it's hard for families, and it's been frustrating with funeral service providers, because it's not what they like to make available to families. So many families are faced with having a memorial service at a later date to allow a larger crowd to come. Some families feel that that's could be a heartbreaker to revisit in a later date and have to relive all of this all over again. There's some folks that don't feel like there's some finality there. So it's been incredibly a delicate line, incredibly difficult for folks. And then our colleagues to the north in New York and other heavier hit places are under siege with trying to care for families in a proper way. And it's really, it has been very, very difficult, I think, for the industry. We're all available. We're all here to serve families, and we're doing that. We're doing it in such a different way that we never that we never thought that we would, have to do. And to limit people seems unlike anything that we've ever been accustomed to.
Right. Yeah. I admire anyone who works in that industry, because I mean, that is just such I just can't even imagine how, you're dealing with people at probably some of their most vulnerable times, and being able to deal with compassion and then having to lay all of this on top of that. Just so thank you all for what you're doing, and trying to meet the needs of families who are having to go through this during this time.
Thank you. We're daily having conversation with CDC, with our state associations, our national associations. As colleagues, we're having Zoom meetings. We're doing a lot of things the public may not realize, trying to come up with the right way to handle things safely, plus many of the medical unknowns, and just all the things that face this on top of a family's deep grief already. Right. So appreciate you.
Okay.
Appreciate you.
Well, I know you've spoken about, and this was not a question that I had asked, but I know had sent you, but I know you mentioned that you all did a lot of renovations to the facility when you moved in. Since we are kind of in a time of exploring things online, I know previously we'd had an article about some of the renovations and had some pictures in our magazine, but do you all, do you have information like that available on your website where folks can kind of see some interior shots of the facility?
Yes, and information as to what we've done. We kind of did a total makeover. A couple things that sort of stick out that may be of interest to the community is, in trying to be family friendly, something that Kim and I both wanted to do was add some family items in. For example, we have a children's room, I suppose you would call it that much. Had a lot to do with Allison's.
Yeah.
But we had a particular area in the building that we felt had more practical space for this. So we've got a place where a family can go, if you want to call it a cry room or a playroom. It's got video in there, a place for a mother to take a child, toys, a place for children to play. It's kind of unique in a funeral home setting, but something that we wanted to do to make things family friendly. We've got a community space in the building, a little gathering meeting room area with kitchen facilities and all. And those are things where we could, have a small luncheon for a family, or someone could bring some of their own, food items in for an evening for a visitation.
Right.
So just to make it more welcoming, more inviting.
Okay. Tell us real quickly the web address. So if someone wanted to go and check that out.
Sure. It's www.lambertfuneralhomenc.com.
Okay.
So,
okay. And we'll add that in the description too, so folks can check it out. So, okay. Well, that is getting close to wrapping up our time, but I know you just mentioned some of that, but is there anything else that you would want folks to know that the business offers that they may not realize?
Well, beyond being a full-service funeral provider with the typical services you see, we're very active in the community, and we try to reach out and do some things, particularly with our first responders. We offer what we call First Responder Fridays, which is a breakfast we do once a month for the first responders.
Okay.
That's been very well received. Currently, that's not happening, of course.
Yeah.
But under normal circumstances, we do a lot of community things, celebrations, work with the Community Foundation, with Rotary and other organizations in the community, Dragonfly House, Smart Start, things that Kim and I are passionate about.
Right.
In the community. We are just launching, which is on Facebook, a new program that we are sponsoring that's called Vital Ice, and it's in case of emergency, ICE, but it's an app that you can download on your phones that gives you medical information. It's very confidential for EMS. When they come to your home, they can locate things. We'll be sending out some through the community, distributing some, I guess we would call them refrigerator boards or refrigerator that has all of that information on there. No cost to the community. It's something we're really excited about. The launch just went out last week. I think it's just a good community help where anybody can subscribe. So those kind of things, just to be involved in the community, to bring forth things that as we as citizens want to do, as well, and that we want to see. So those are things that just improve Davie County and continue to make us Davie strong, as I like to hear.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see what that's going to look like as you have more information available about that. And yeah, I'll be the first to vouch for the fact that you guys have been real active in the community, and you've been super supportive of DavieLiFE since we've started, and we can't thank you enough for that, because it means so much to have someone like you with the reputation you have in the community to say we're doing a good job. So I appreciate that, and just wanted to point that out.
Particularly proud of DavieLiFE, and I was involved on the school board and other things in a time when DavieLiFE came out as, I thought, such a positive, impactful piece, and I still believe that today. So, and I want to thank you all for all you do, and this is a great opportunity for us to get to know one another a little closer, a little more about each other, about our businesses, about what we do in a wonderful community that's growing, and so you all are a great a major piece of that, and we appreciate all you all do.
Well, we appreciate that. That means a lot coming from you. So, well, we are going to hop off here, because I know you have work to do, and we're working right along ourselves. So anyhow, but I do appreciate you spending time with us this morning, and tell Kim we said hello. And
thank you so much, and we look forward to hearing from the Terry Law Firm here shortly, I believe.
That's right. I think they're up next. So, okay. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you, Wendy.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.